everything else we had to do. One-shot takes, cutting several big scenes, scaling down lines to only the bare minimum, shooting only what we absolutely needed.
Yeah. So does that mean that Beavis Woods is a wrap?
Yes. For everyone else here, yes.
Yes.
But the day wasn't over. We still had to shoot the Chuck Jaffer scene at a friend's house. Seeing how it was already getting dark, we had to shoot a lot of the outside scenes with Bargo inside, which I think was a relief to most people. The mood was quiet, very quiet. People were exhausted and possibly sick because I kept them out so long. Even Lewis, who practically breathes video making, was having a hard time keeping a chipper attitude.
Big, strong hands!
Shut up! Alright, now do one from just where you were. Okay. Alright, a little louder, Phelan.
As the day finally came to a close, we took the producers out for pizza. It was the least we could do after making them suffer so much.
Apparently, like, I need to try it. Let's go the car bomb or whatever.
Go!
Kind of woke up up here.
Oh, it's curling! No way!
Then another ball dropped.
So yeah, today is Friday, 4/22, and basically, as you can tell, it is like really stormy, so it's not really practical to do any of our outdoor stuff. Luckily, we have 2 extra crossover days that we're going into, but the weather doesn't look good, which means we may just have one more sunny day. We have a whole Team 2 stuff to do, as well as a whole climax scene. So that's a lot of work. We may have to do split teams. Not sure yet what the walkers have planned for, but definitely everybody's getting nervous, myself included. With the weather the way it is, we are going to have to really break down our contingencies. So hopefully we can make this happen one way or the other.
We're going to have problems with the departures because we got massive storms coming in on Tuesday now.
So it looks like there's going to be some delays on that end. And this is Mike, our CEO.
Hey.
As you can see, he's not in the best of spirits at the moment. Basically, we have a lot of stuff that we need to... let's just put it this way. We're in the process of possibly making this the feature. Hey!
Day 3 had to be canceled, which meant the schedule had to be pushed back to include Easter as one of the shooting days. Several extras that we asked to perform had to decline because they wanted to be with their families on the holiday. And to make things worse, it was said that the storm was going to last the whole week. I spent most of the day making calls in bed. I didn't shower, I didn't eat, I didn't even brush my teeth. That was pretty fucking gross. I was convinced I totally doomed this production. How could we explain the rain in this kind of story? Why would a girl want to go on a playground if it's raining? How could we fight or perform stunts on a muddy ground? How many more scenes will we have to cut because of slow shooting? And how could we risk the producers putting up with any more than they already have?
Lupa, give me more room. God.
Sorry.
As many of the performers signed autographs for the group photo, Mike Machad, Bargo, Rob, and myself all gathered at Mike's place to discuss the future of the production, which we all could see was undeniably shaky.
Everybody who's on Team 2 or whatever is going to have to come back on Sunday. So if that happens, then that team will have been out 2 days in a row, particularly for the climax, which is going to be entirely outside.
The main reason I didn't do it today, I mean, of course the weather is really bad, but
The main reason I didn't do it is that I realized is that you can't have a scene where a girl wants to go on a playground and it's raining. No girl would go on a playground while raining. But the other things that I'm thinking of honestly is, you know, when I'm wearing that, whatever, that kilt, the cold in the last third of that finally got to me, and I'm realizing with...
Yeah, Doug literally was shivering.
Yeah, and it actually got painful. I'm realizing with Benzai, with Mickey, with Kaylin, and myself, I'm concerned people are going to get sick. But on top of that, the amount of time that's taking to film this is just, it is taking longer, and we're having to cut a lot of scenes. Now, not only cut scenes, but there's a lot of scenes we're going to have to film later, and because of that, the production could, you know, instead of, like, I think with Kick-Ass it was, what, a month to edit? I mean, this could take anywhere from 2 to 3 months to edit. And on top of that, we probably have to just rely on the nostalgia critics, because I don't think I'd have time to do other videos.
But that's what we're saying. What was a project that we wanted to get out right away would take 3 months. Doug would be only down to doing the NCs.
Say we can get this, let me scrap this project. How much do you have that's usable so we can put into something later on?
Well, defines it. I mean,
It'd be something that'd be more of just like, this is what happened, all these
For
scenarios
a
came
documentary or mockumentary, it could be done.
I think the idea behind this was, I mean, every year we do this, we always try to do something bigger. You know, we try to top ourselves, and I think we may have finally gotten to a point where, with the time frame that we have, we may have been
I
on
mean,
board.
we're limited with their time, so all of them are doing this full time. So, I mean, it's always going to be a week.
Yeah, I mean,
for a majority of the people.
I think when we did the brawl, we had to shoot that one day, and that seemed impossible. We did it. With Kick-Ass, we had to do that in 4 days, and it seemed impossible. We did it. I think with this, I think we honestly thought we could do this, but the fact that that is the weather, it is the temperature, that there is a shorter amount of time, we can't really move around days because of the weather.
This was more once we got there. I mean, God, what did we do? It was like, what, 7 to 8?
It was the first day of shooting inside was 12 hours. The second day, I
It was
believe,
about
was
13.
14 actually.
14. Yeah.
And again, even that wasn't enough time. I really
It
do
may
think
just have been over-ambition.
I'd rather not have them work on Easter. It's so wrong.
I don't want them to work on Easter either.
Well, then we have to make a decision, because either they're working on Easter or it doesn't get
Well,
done.
obviously.
So that's the thing, we could go 2 routes. We could do a mockumentary, or we could make it a documentary. Basically, one would be jokey, kind of tongue-in-cheek, poking fun at the truths that did happen. The other would be straight up, probably not funny, except with a couple of like really dry humor
Well,
things.
I think the mockumentary would be the feature then.
I don't think that's what people want to see. I think they would actually want to see what we were going to do. And the nice thing is, because we do have a good chunk of footage shot, I mean, we could edit some of these scenes together.
Still, they're all together. They're all filming crosses, which people like to see. And the fact that we're showing what went wrong and telling what went wrong and explaining all this.
I'm not entirely against it. I'm just saying that's the concern.
Rob brings up a very good point that as a company, is that going to make us look bad?
I don't think so. I think it'd be commendable that we're willing to admit our mistakes. Other than the fact of the rental cars, the food, the lodging, and the airfare, we still haven't put really much money into the production. I mean, with the process.
Just those things.
And then the costumes. I mean, that's the biggest. That's all our productions are. It's pretty much bringing them here and having a few props here. We don't have the time or the ability to be able to put these big productions together right now. But as we get bigger and we do get a location and we start filming higher quality stuff, we'll be able to show what we can do there. I honestly say we just go to documentary approach. I think we just go that approach. That will be the thing we show. And then I don't know, I mean, that's the only thing we can do.
The only one missing from that meeting was Holly, who was also pretty busy herself. When she heard about the decision we were going to make, she called another emergency meeting just a few minutes after the last one ended. She told us that not only could the production be finished, but the crew actually wants to finish it. True, it may not be as good as you intended, she said, but leaving now would be a much bigger mistake than not trying to follow through. After a good hour of trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, we finally came to a reasonable outcome. We let the producers decide. We gathered everybody in a room to tell them the situation and began handing out sheets of paper for people to vote whether or not they wanted to finish the production or abandon it. And then this happened.
Okay, so here we've been talking over, and pretty much we want to be sure that we're all on the same page here. Since production's begun, for some people they say, oh wow, this is a lot easier than Kick-Assy, this is so much more relaxed. For others, they're like, oh man, this is But I want to see with everyone here, I want to be sure that everyone is on board with it. Because yesterday, a lot of people, it got very cold. A lot of us were not wearing much. And a lot of, and I could tell people were getting cranky. We're running out of time and stuff like that. I want to be sure that people can do this. And if you feel like, no, it's just, this isn't good, we're handing out sheets of paper right now. Just write down, no, if you feel, no, I'm on board. This, I really want to finish this. I want this to be easy and stuff like that.
Crumple it up and throw it.
I'll take that to
I knew what y'all were coming with, and we've already talked about it. All of us are on board. We all took an independent
the paper
vote.
is a waste of time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was freezing my ass off.
Just to confirm,
Team
you
B
guys
is-
are aware that we could have rain in these
Team B is
We're all ready to go
Just
in the
filming the
Yeah.
rain.
I can't promise we won't be cranky, but we will do it.
No, I can promise we won't be cranky. And also,
John will make that promise.
Sunday and Monday, we don't care about. Like Easter does not. We're here. We're giving up everything in order to finish the production. And then what we'll do is we'll work all the way till it's completed. Yeah, it may not be the best, the lighting may be this and that, but that's all stuff that you can figure out in editing. And I know you know how to edit, and you can create things, create magic in editing, and find different ways to make things work. So if we just all work to get to a single goal, finishing it, you know, we need any crossover days. Sunday, Monday, we'll work Easter, we'll work whatever. We talked about
We can
it
extend
already.
on Monday as well.
Yeah, because Doug, we want to help. Like, we really want to
Yeah.
see the project to completion, and we want you to use us to the best of our ability.
So I don't think
We are at your disposal.
If I'm complaining, I'm just saying, like, I'm definitely happy to be there. I hope, like, this does me find out, like...
I apologize for yesterday when I like said I'm hot and tired of my feet, or I am very sorry about that. We might be miserable on the set, but the day after we'll look back on it and say, that was fucking awesome. I'm doing my speech, Doug. Wait. 2 years ago, Margo gathered us together in a room. Most of us here were not here for that, so let me repeat what he said. We are the best of the best. And if we are the best of the best, you, sir, are the best of the best of the best. You are that guy with the glasses. It is your website that we are on. Without you, I would not be here. I would have never been inspired to make comic book videos. There would be no nostalgia chick. There would have been a nostalgia chick contest to get attention on Mars Girl. There would not have been so many of us. You got us started, sir. I am proud to work for you, sir. I know that you can do this.
Everybody, I will say that, yeah, I mean, I was concerned looking at people, you know, because of the cold and so I was concerned. Hearing that gives me so much motivation, guys.
A round of applause. Guys. Slow clap.
In light of all this, I think Holly said it best when she said this.
I just want to take this opportunity to say, I fucking told you so.
Now you got a lot more people ready to work. How are you going to utilize them more?
She doesn't need
With me, to be honest,
but, you know, she's
I'm very much a hands-on person, so I don't. For me, it's more people can stay out of the way. I'm very odd that way. But maybe that's like a weird condition I have. Maybe I should utilize people more. I guess because I'm so used to working by myself. But I'm sure there's ways.
Everybody started chipping in. Lindsay and Ed strongly suggested that I use 2 cameras to make filming go faster. Todd handed over his camera, which happened to be identical to ours, and Noah handed over his memory card for additional space. Even Allison handed over one of her camera batteries. This would mean, however, that Ed would have to give up his role as cloak number 3 and instead be cameraman. So that part was now being handed over to Iron Liz. The other actor, Jim Trokin, who couldn't make it to play cloak number 2, was now being handed over to Jim J. Roz, who's done a lot of camera and Photoshop work for us in the past. The role of the house owner was now going to be played by Lindsay's friend Lisa, who was replacing Victoria from the Bjork show, who sadly couldn't be there on that day as well. But even with all that said, how the hell were we going to explain the weather? How the hell could we film this entire story in the rain? Well, as luck would have it, the sun started to shine again. In keeping with most Chicagoans' interpretation of the weather report, which is never listen to the weather report, the sky suddenly did a 180. And though it was cold and still pretty windy, we had more time to get creative with our shot so that we wouldn't show the fact that we're all clearly wearing warm pants.
I honestly don't think, I think if you ever see him with the pants, it's only for like a half second. And
well, the scene where he walks up to Mati and puts his hand on his shoulder.